So I have another question on this video from another friend who says, sorry, preschool teacher, everybody's a friend, right? What do you do with kids who are not on the carpet and don't listen? Well, let's think, so what's going on? Why are they not on the carpet? So you hate raising your voice, you've been with the kids since January, and they don't listen to me and throw tantrums when you have to clean up. I get it. So age group is important to consider too. So when you have a group of kids, right, the idea that I follow here is, how can I create a community with these kids to create a situation where they want to be here, they want to listen, they want to be participating, they want to be involved? And what can I do to establish routines and rituals where they love being here? I love being here, and when we're together, we're stronger. So doing routines and rituals, giving them a high five when they come into the room, if they like a high five or a hug, is important, and it helps them be seen. Giving them a reason to come to the carpet. What are we learning about? If they just can't learn, it's probably because they're in fight or flight and their brains are not letting them. So the way our brains work, right, we have our prefrontal cortex up here, which is where learning happens. And then our brainstem is in the back here, and that's where survival happens. When you have a kid that's not listening, who's running around, jumping off the tables, who is just not present, it's simply because the parts of their brains are activated and there is no blood flow going up here. They're not able to think, they're not able to learn. So the way to get them out of here and back in here is to create situations where they feel safe and connected. They're not going to do it just by somebody telling them to do it. They need to feel safe, they need to feel loved, and they need to feel connected. So ways to do this in the moment, when you're in circle and you have your group of kids around you and there's like one or two going crazy, you're not going to be able to connect with them because you have 10 other kids here that you're trying to connect with. So establishing routines and rituals and creating your space to prevent these things is really important, because now you're not going to be putting out fires. You're not allowing them to start. So have a greeting routine. How do you greet them when they come into your space? Have a reward system of some sort. So I'm not talking prizes, I'm not talking behavior charts and stuff, because that doesn't work. If somebody's on yellow, then they know they're on yellow, they're going to be on edge, and by the end of the day, they're going to be on red. They're going to go home and have a bad day. Their parents are going to yell at them. The next day, they're going to come in being in a bad mood. They're going to start off on red, and it just continues, and now everybody else knows that this guy's the bad guy, and it's just a terrible situation where kids get bullied because of a system that's in place that doesn't work. So instead, routines and rituals. So entering the class routine, having jobs, right? So who puts out the water bottles during snack? Who pushes the chairs in? Who does the calendar during circle time? Who's the line leader? Who pushes the cart? So depending on what your classroom looks like, there's probably a job for everybody. And you just have to get a little bit creative. What do I do all the time that I really don't want to be doing that another kid could do? It would take the weight off of my hands. And now I have an extra teacher in my classroom because a kid is stepping up and doing these little things that I just don't have time for, right? So if it's picking up trash off the floor, hey, we got a helper for that. If it's watering the plants, we got a helper for that. If it's stacking up the chairs, hey, we got 2 helpers that do that. So giving the kids jobs reduces your stress, right? So it keeps your level of burnout lower, because you don't have to do everything by yourself. And kids love the jobs. They just want to be important. So especially with the kids that are running around and not participating, hey, I have a really important job for you. I can't do this by myself, and I was thinking about it, and I think you're really the only person that can help me with this. When it's time to blah, blah, and then explain what the job is, right? So you give them a purpose. So if it's during circle, hey, you know what? I really need your help. We have carpet squares with everybody's names on them. I can't put them out right now, and I really need your help. Can you put out the carpet squares for our friends so that we know where they're sitting? Can you be in charge of carpet squares? So get these kids that are resisting that activity to be involved with setting it up, so they have a reason to want to be in it. Another thing with, like, right, cleanup is so triggering for me. I just feel like I want to yell and scream the whole time during cleanup, because you're laying cleanup and then they just sit there, or they're freaking out because they didn't want to stop playing. So there's a couple things to consider with cleanup. And First of all, transitions can be really hard for kids. So make sure that how you're transitioning into cleanup gives them enough time to finish what they're doing and is predictable. And then acknowledge their efforts during cleanup and give them a goal. So what are we doing after cleanup? So there's 3 things to consider: transitioning into it, acknowledging that they're working hard during it, and then what are we doing after? And then I can do a whole video about cleanup time specifically, because I think that that would probably be really helpful. And the response to this comment, I like give the directions, and if they don't do it, I can help you. And then they want to do it by themselves. So I did that with my daughter. So when I was a kid, I would get like, no, you're not listening. I'm going to count 1, 2. If I get to 3, you're going to blah, blah. So I was terrified of that. That was scary. So I switched that for my daughter. I was like, I'm going to count to 3, or I'm going to count down or something. If I get down to 1, I'm going to give you 5. If I get down to 1, then I'm going to come and help you, because it seems like you're not able to do it by yourself, so I will help. So you decide if you want to do it by yourself, you can, or if you want help, it's your choice. But when I get down to 1, it's going to go. We're going to be doing the thing, but you can decide which way you want to do it. So 5, 4, 3. Oh, thank you so much. I really didn't want to have to do it for you, because I know you're big. You can handle this. Or 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is really hard for you. I'm going to come and help you, and then I'll explain what I'm doing. So I like that, where you're coming in to help them move forward into whatever they're doing. And then calmly redirect them. And then you can put a hand on their back. You can put a hand on their shoulder and just come on over. We're going to be sitting here. And we're going to be starting circle now. And honestly, big picture takeaway here is, what are you doing to create community with your kids? And what are you doing to give them a reason to want to be there? Through routines and rituals and safety, kids will end up wanting to follow directions because they feel safe enough to, and they just, being connected to other people is what drives us. So use that innate drive that we all have of wanting to be connected to guide your process as you figure out your own routines and rituals and what works for you in your space. Hope that helped.